It is 2:15.
612 ABC Radio Brisbane and Queensland. On air and streaming on the ABC Listen app.
This is Kat Feeney.
Well, the Greens say changes to superannuation tax reforms announced by the federal Labor government today have let the wealthy off the hook.
Australians are doing it really tough, but there are some people that are doing pretty good, and they've been given a free ride, it looks, today, under these changes as announced by the Treasurer.
That is Green Senator Sarah Hanson-Young. The government still intends to double to 30% the tax on earnings on superannuation balances of more than $3 million, while a new 40% tax rate will be applied to people with balances of more than $10 million. Mr. Chalmers, James Chalmers, the Treasurer of Australia, says the low-income super tax offset payment will also be raised as part of the overhaul.
This means a better deal for low-income workers and also better targeted concessions for the biggest balances. This will make the superannuation system fairer from top to bottom.
But how will it work for everyone in the middle? For more, you're joined by financial planner Philip McGann. Phil, good to have your company this afternoon, Director of Claritude Financial Planning. Can you just begin perhaps by running us through the original superannuation tax policy that Labor has changed today?
No problem, Scott. Nice to be on. Basically, what the government came out with a couple of years ago now, they took it to the last election. They were trying to raise additional revenue from superannuation, and they said everyone who's got a balance of $3 million and above, they'll increase the earnings tax on that from 15% to 30%. The big issue was that figure doesn't impact a lot of people, but the fact was they weren't going to index the $3 million threshold. So over time, over the next 10 or 15 years, a lot more people would have been caught up in the mix of this tax. And the other big issue that they've reneged on today as well is we're going to tax unrealised capital gains in super funds.
Okay. Now, for
that was
those,
the big issue.
Yes, and just that, can you just take a moment to spell that one out as well, because that is an important one to understand.
Yeah, basically. So look, the unrealised gains, effectively, when you've actually got assets in a structure like a superannuation fund, you bought a property or some shares, over time they might increase in value, you sell that asset and basically you've got a gain and you pay tax on that gain. What the government was coming up with was the idea that they were going to tax the unrealised gains. So basically they'd come up with a figure of what the price of that asset was at a particular point in time. 12 months hence, it's risen in value. They were going to tax you on that, even though you hadn't realised the gain in that asset. This was going to be a big issue for a lot of people in farming communities who actually hold a lot of assets like large farms, wealthy farms in superannuation assets. So that was basically a big issue for people in that community, and that was a lot of groundswell in opposition to this new tax.
Okay, so the adjustments announced today means that unrealised gains dimension is gone.
Yes, which is good.
And the 3 million to 10 million both being indexed to inflation, which...
Correct, yeah. And it will basically mean that less people will be caught in this going forward, so to speak. So at the moment, the government said that people with $3 million in super, which is a lot of money, there's about 90,000 people who have super funds of that balance. $10 million, there's 8,000 people in that cohort. So if they index that over time, you're not going to get a lot more people caught up in this mix, and would have caused politically some big issues for the government, hence the change.
Mm-hmm. Now, the Federal Treasurer did say, and I played his comments a moment ago, the low-income super tax offset payment will be raised. So he says that's going to help low-income earners. Sarah Hanson-Young, Green Senator, said that he's giving a free ride to the very rich Australians. But what about everybody else in the middle, Phil?
Look, everyone else in the middle, there's not much change. Mm-hmm. Effectively, at the very lower end, people on incomes less than $37,000, you can actually get some rebate for the tax that you pay on money going into superannuation, and they're raising that up a little bit, so going from $500 a year to $810. So that's a benefit for those people. But for everyone from about 45 grand up to a couple of hundred, which is a vast bulk of people, there's no real change in the policy here. Where the change is as at the other end, with people who have got a lot of money in superannuation, $3 million, and that's each person. So if you've got a couple who's got that much, you've got $6 million in the household. So that's a lot of money tied up in super. And there's not that many people out there with that much in there. So they were trying to generate some revenue. It hasn't worked. So they've had to, because they couldn't get it through Parliament. The opposition have said they're not going to support the original proposal. They're sitting on their hands today, not sure whether they'll go forward with it. And the Greens that you played earlier don't seem to be too happy. It'll be interesting to see what the legislation is when it finally gets to Parliament and what sort of support it actually gets in the Senate, because that's what it's all about.
Okay, it looks like there will be that new 40% tax rate applied to people with balances of more than $10 million. So look, it will touch a few people and presumably still raise the revenue the government intended to?
That was the thing. The government originally, when they came out with this 2 years ago, said they were going to raise $6 billion from this new tax.
Okay.
The estimation now, because it's delayed a year, it's going to be $2 billion. So there's about $4 billion short. Now, where are they going to get that from? Not sure. Keep in mind the Greens as well. They said they would support this, but they wanted to lower the threshold from $3 million to $2 million.
Okay.
So whether they go forward with that, we'll wait and see as well. And it's very early days. This only came out, an hour and a half ago. So it'll play its way through the political sphere over the next couple of days.
Well, thank you for your
interesting.
Yeah, and thank you for your time, and good to have your reaction included in the mix. Philip McGann, appreciate it.
No dramas, Kat. Cheers.
Phil McGann with you, Director of Claritude Financial Planning. My name's Kat Finney. You can find out a little bit more about the adjustment to the superannuation tax policy the Labor government had taken to the election through the ABC News website. You'll be hearing more about it across the afternoon in your ABC News breaks on the hour, every hour, while we spend time together. My name is Kat Finney. It's 20 minutes past 2.
612 ABC Radio Brisbane and Queensland.
On air and streaming on the ABC Listen app.
You're listening to Kat Finney.